approaching downtown Carrollton. But that's unrelated to my story for the day. Just an interesting tidbit of information. So a couple years back, I worked for this couple. Really nice guy, really nice lady. They had a really nice house in North Dallas. And he was some sort of corporate attorney, if I recall correctly. Worked for one of these big oil companies or something like that. Big time guy. And she was at home. She was a homemaker, as they call it. Basically stay at home wife. And worked for them for a couple years. Everything cool, didn't have any problems. Paid the bills, everything was great. Smooth, cool. Well, one day, and this wasn't even the day I'm scheduled to go out there and mow for them, I get a text message from the husband, who's my main contact, is the guy I'm dealing with. And all it is a phone number. It's just a random phone number. And I'm like, thinking, okay. Thinking, well, he must have sent me he must have meant to send this to someone else. He probably just texted the wrong number, screw it, I'm just going to ignore it. So I left it alone, didn't do anything with it. We'll call him Bob and we'll call her Carol. Let's say Mr. Bob and Mrs. Carol are their names. Not their real names, but that's what we're calling them for the sake of this story. So, anyhow, Bob sends me this random text message one day that's just a phone number. And I'm like, okay, I don't recognize the number. So I just ignored it. Well, a couple hours later, he sends me a follow-up text. And this is what it said. This is Carol's cell phone number. Please contact her for future lawn work. I am moving out. And I'm thinking, moving out? What? Are they getting divorced? Is he leaving? What? Well, I end up reaching out to the phone number, and yeah, sure enough, it's that lady. And obviously, when you're in a business like this, you don't talk to people about their personal lives. A lot of times people volunteer information, but you don't initiate that conversation. Like, I'm not going to tell somebody, oh, hey, I heard you and your husband are getting divorced. I'm not going to do that. It's not any of my business, and it's not in any way relevant to the job that I'm doing, so I don't care. Well, worked for, didn't see him again. He was gone, I didn't mow for him anymore. He was gone. Well, I worked for her for, a few more years. Great lady, great client. I ended up finding out a few years later, through the grapevine from some people that I knew that knew them as well, that they had actually been divorced legally for like 10 years before that. They had just been living together in that house. I guess because of they didn't want to pay the high mortgage rates, or they didn't want to, I guess it was just convenient for them both to stay there and just live their own lives and do their own thing, I guess. I don't know. But I found that kind of weird, like, oh, okay, and when they introduced me to them, they introduced me as my husband, my wife, but they come to find out that whole time they weren't even married. And I was also told another little funny bit of information. The gentleman involved in this was, I suppose this is what finally dissolved their relationship, but this was heavily implied to me. But this gentleman was caught making frequent unscheduled business trips to Thailand. And if you can fill in the blanks there, I'm not going to tell you why he was going to Thailand, but let's just say it was not for the food or the pristine beaches or the Buddhist temples. It was for something else. Wow. Crazy world we live in.